usually been abusive towards me. So I had a tendency to disassociate and just do my own thing and not necessarily fit in. But I'm just jumping around a little bit here. I don't have bad aspects from Neptune, but I have the Saturn-Pluto difficult aspect. I don't have bad aspects from Uranus. Those two planets don't afflict my chart, but the stress factors coming from Saturn, Pluto to my Mercury, Mars. Don't tell me. I want to argue. Want to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about? Okay, let's fight. Let's go. That's going to get me going. We're going. Like, what's true? What's not? So, but all of that energy going out, my Uranus in the 10th house, the finding the independent career. I've worked as an astrologer all my life. I haven't had other careers. I've done music, I've done some other things, but really it's been my main focus. I've worked for myself my whole life. And most people have a job and have their astrology on their side. For me, it's been a full-time thing. So that's allowed a lot of personal growth and development and a lot of learning and studying, always learning and studying. But my Venus is important to understand here. My Venus down in the IC, in the 4th house, it's wanting security. Anywhere I live, I have to put pictures up and artwork up that I've done before I feel I'm at home. Even when I was a little kid, I had playing cards all over the walls of my bedroom, just had stuff all over. I mean, lots of people do. It's a normal thing, but like, it's always been a thing. Then as I get older, well, I would love other cultures. I see Scorpio, but the Venus is in Sag, and Sag is intercepted in this 4th house. So it opposes my midheaven. So the things I want often cost more than it's practical to do, but I still have to do it. I have to make a piece of art. I have to do something. It costs so much to do it, but I do it anyways because I need to have it done. And but it being in Sagittarius, I found one of the interesting things. I built an astrology library and I ran it for 30 years. I had like at the peak, it was about 75,000 books, over 100 bookshelves full of astrology and mystical books of all different religions, different cultures, different ways. I lived in that world. Wow, that was a great depth for me. That's part of the foundation of teaching classes, being around all this material, running across all the literature. A lot of which people don't even see anymore today. But that's the Venus in Sag, living in a library in the 4th house. It was like the books were too big for me to live in a house. So usually I've lived in studios or warehouses or places that I had to use the library and live inside because I couldn't afford a house and the library. So, but this Venus is a very motivating fact in my chart. I have the bowl chart, which generally is all projecting and then trying to put things out for other people. That's the rising bowl. The Venus is taking things in. As Roger used to call it, the aching tooth. If you have a planet right on the IC in the 4th house, you're taking things in right there, irrationally, deeply, and then that motivates you to put out. So that's the rising. We have to look at the phase of the moon. And okay, we're going to come to this, but just you want to get a sense of the chart. I mean, you guys are probably sick of my chart by now. I've talked about it so much, but I don't know how to teach astrology without doing it and without you working with your chart. It's different now because on the web, we can put the information, make the presentations, it's great, but it's harder to get the feedback back and forth. So I'm having to teach the classes without the personal stories. So with the classes we've given out, we now have the videos, which are better than the original audios because the audio files, the sound would go up and down as I would look at the blackboard or not. And it was not, some people had trouble with that. But there were classes in class settings. And they were done 20, 30 years ago, most of them. So it's good to keep them as a backup. Like you work through the videos, but when you want to go back over it, go listen to one of the classes because you're getting feedback, interaction from people talking about what's happening to them. It's a little bit more exciting and alive. And maybe it's a little more stupid or playing or more performing, more interactive. But when you're going to review and go back over something, you can go back and listen to one of the audio files because you already got the visual stuff together, and they would be useful. So it's worth keeping the audio files that you have with RASA. Okay, this is our point system. We have it as our spreadsheet. You put the planets in. You put all the planets in. How many points in Aries? How many planets? Points in Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. We have to count all those in. And 2 points for the sun, 2 points for the moon, 1 point for the ascendant midheaven. Then it's a, so, and then you just put them in, and then it does all the other totals for us. But the first thing we saw was the bowl pattern type. The second thing we saw is the waning gibbous moon phase. So I worked with the moon phase a long time. It's only been the last 4 or 5 years that I renamed them. So that this used to be called the waning half moon phase, but it's really because it was still building up to the half moon phase. There was something wrong in the interpretation. So now all the phases, if they're waxing, it's between the conjunction and the opposition. If it's waning, it's between the opposition and the new moon. So there's no waxing full moon phase. It would be the waxing gibbous phase. There's a waning full moon phase. It goes to a waning gibbous phase, waning half moon, waning crescent. There's no waning new moon phase, because you have the new moon, it starts to wax after that. So it's just named slightly different, same interpretations. The pattern types have been revised and made more accurate from the degrees. And if you studied a long time ago, well, you guys have all got this, but anyone listening to this that might have been an older student, they might have to go to the forum, the student forum, where we have our class. It's really a class forum and a student forum section, but there's the new definitions of the bowl pattern types, and these are going to be made available as booklets at the iastro.com store. So they'll be available probably by the end of the year, 2019. Okay. So we have the bowl, we have the waning gibbous phase, which is the darkness increasing or the light getting decreasing. So I've had the full moon, I'm coming in, I'm working towards going towards the new moon, towards a new deeper impression. I'm working to the next inner new moon. It's my understanding is guiding more than my impulses. It's not the waxing moon phase, it's the waning half. Okay, and it's not quite on the conjunction active side, it's taking impressions in. So then we gotta look through the points. This is our stats side of it. So just the keywords, they're very simple, but it's useful to just run through it. I have 1 point, I think 1 point, I feel, my moon in Cancer 2 points, I will, Saturn Pluto 2 points in Leo, I analyze, Virgo rising, 3 points and I balance, that's the Libra, 3 points and I desire, that's the Scorpio, 1 point and I understand, and the rest don't have planets in it. So I balance and I desire. These are the 2 strong factors out of my signs. Venus and Mars rulership, Libra, Scorpio. So, okay, just, they don't always use it, but sometimes these things come back and are useful at other levels. They explain things. With the daylight increasing and the darkness increasing, I have 12 points darkness increasing, 12 points below, 2 points above, just the moon. No, this is in the sign, sorry. Daylight increasing, 2 points, darkness increasing. So really the momentum is towards belonging and sharing and doing things with others, more so than anything else. To have a cause to work towards things. Astrology has been that very much for me. Daylight greater, nighttime greater, darkness greater, daylight greater, they're the same, about 7-7. So it's just, and in the signs, the momentum towards belonging, participating, being meaningful with others, or having other people meaningful to me, that's the outstanding point in that. When it comes to the seasons, winter, I don't have planets there, 2 points in spring, summer, 5 points, autumn. So the summer and the fall are my most active, dynamic times in the year. Then we have the cardinal fixed mutable. 5 cardinal, 6 fixed, 3 mutable. We're going to do this on every chart. You have to get into this a little bit for each chart. So you're going to see that being fixed is the outstanding, being pushy is the next point, being mutable, I'm not the most adaptable person. I can adapt if I have to, but it's not my first reaction. Someone challenges me, my first reaction is, what? And I anchor in. And then if there's something wrong, I have to work to fix it. Then the cardinal stuff comes in. But generally, the cardinal stuff is working to get myself in a position where my fixity is holding in. So we all have our different points in it. Then the fire, water, air, 3 fire, 4 air, 2 earth, 5 water. So water and air are my strong elements. The emotions and the sympathy and the intuitive side of things, the feeling side of things, and the expressive side of things. It works well for my imagination because my ideas get emotionally empowered by my feelings. When I feel something, when I have a deep feeling, I can remember everything. I remember a sad time. I hear a sad song. I remember everything associated to it in the past. It's just the people, the things around. I remember someone. I remember everything around them at the time. It just happens like that. But that emotion, that the water makes me judgmental, irrational somewhat, and the air makes me rational. But the practical is my weakest, the earth, and the fire, not as strong. The fire and earth are my weaker, but the air and the water is my predominant. Masculine, feminine, 7-7. So I know we got to it, just going over 2 points for the rulerships. The sun rules Saturn, Pluto, and Leo, 2 points in Leo. The moon is in Cancer, it rules itself, 2 points. Mercury rules the ascendant in my Uranus and Gemini, so it rules Gemini and Virgo. Venus is in Sag, but it rules the Libra and the Taurus, so that's my midheaven, the Sun, and Neptune. So there's 4 points to Venus. Mars rules 3. It rules. I have nothing in Aries, so it rules the Mercury and the Jupiter with it in Scorpio. The Jupiter's rules the Venus and Sag. There's nothing in Pisces, and the Saturn doesn't rule anything. So I have nothing in Capricorn or Aquarius. So these are my rulerships. So Venus, again, is the strong one, and Mars is next. So when we looked at the signs, we saw the signs where I balanced and I desired the Libra, Scorpio, Venus, and Mars. They were the highest rulers. But because of the succeeding rulers, like how many planets are being ruled by that. So it means if something affects my emotions, it really affects me more than anything else. It affects my Venus rulership. Something affects my doing of things, or I'm challenged to do things, that's next, 3 points with the Mars. So you begin to see things like that. Okay, so we're just going to get through this. Now, when we go to the houses, the points in the houses, they're going to be similar or opposite. So we're comparing them kind of to the signs, but it's 2 different levels. So this, when I run through it, 3 points values, 3 points expressions, 1 point security, 1 point honor, 2 points friendship, 2 points conscious. So expression, third house, teaching is a strong, learning, writing, being interested is the strongest accentuated in the houses. In the signs, it was I balance and I desire. The Libra Scorpio, here is the expression. I express my imbalances or express my desires. But when you look at my chart, 11 rising, 1 setting. So really, it's really a projective chart. And I'm projecting everything, but that Venus is sensitive and takes things in, takes things personally. Someone likes me, but it gets all my rising. It's disproportionate. But that's part of my texture. Above 5, 7 below. It's not a big extreme, but really, so I have some functional attachment. Really, I'm living my own way. We get to the intuition, feeling, thinking, sensation, intuition, thinking, sensation, feeling, which are the quadrants of the houses, not the elements. And intuition, 6 points, thinking, 5 points, sensation, 0, feeling, 1. So in the quadrants, it's the intuitive and the thinking that are my strongest suits. By far, that's the 11 points rising. With the angular, 2 angular, 5 succeedent, 5 cadent. So in the houses, I'm stubborn, but I'm adaptable. But I'm not very driving. It's the way when it comes to worldly things, I'm not the most driving. When it comes to the signs, I'm much more driving and not so adaptable. But the fixed and the succeedent are similar. I'm stubborn in a certain way. There's people with more stubbornness, but I have enough of it for it to stand out. Then when you look at the houses of self, relationships, and concerns, 5 point relationships, air, 4 points concerns, earth, 3 points rewards, the water, 0 self. I don't have any fire in the houses, so the focus is not so much on expressing being myself, it's more on relationships, communication, what I'm concerned about. Those are the factors. So you have to go through everybody's points because you may not use them right away, but somewhere along the line, you work with the transits, you get in the progressions, and you see, oh, there's going to be a shift. The progressed sun changes sign. It changes its emphasis on the rulership. Suddenly, instead of being a Libra, when my progressed sun went to Scorpio, the Mars became the inner predominance, and that affected the nature of the rulerships in my natal chart.